All are welcome to Comrade Media's cultural program in pursuit of roots. Today we are going to have the 11th episode of the program. It is entitled Arab Chinese Travelers Account of Kerala. So far we have been unveiling or digging up and unveiling the unknown but authentic information about our country, and after AD what are the important things our Dr. Mohan Varghese will give now. Sir,
Yes.
you have given the unknown but the authentic.
Less known, not exactly unknown,
Not less known.
lesser known.
Most people do not know all these things. Anyway, this is very helpful for students, our students, student community. Yes. Now, after the description about the BC information, you just came in the previous episode came to the AD years,
There's the time of the Roman trade.
Roman trade, and the rest we are eager to hear from you.
Rome disintegrated. Rome melted and withered away.
By which time?
Roman Empire had its heydays
Yeah.
from Julius Caesar's time for the next 150 to 200 years.
Around 200 years.
Around 200, 300 years. It continued in a lesser form even beyond 500 years. But in the heyday,
The flourishing age.
flourishing time was BC 1st century, AD 1st and 2nd century. Most of the coins of the Roman emperors excavated from Kerala coast was between BC 26, that is just about Augustus Caesar's time, just the fag end of Julius Caesar's time. Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, and the later rulers up to AD 126. After that, the numbers started declining. That is a fair enough indication that the trade, Kerala's trade with Rome declined, if not completely extinguished. Decline in the Roman trade coincided with the decline of the Chera might. The Tamilagam was the Chera, Chola, Pandya and Ai kingdoms. They all somehow, that is the Sankham era, the Sankham stage declined, deteriorated and came to an end by 3rd, 4th century AD. So no major chronicles, no major written documents after that. Plenty of artifacts, the pieces of amphora, gold coins and the ships, everything excavated, indicating the flourishing trade between West Asia and India. Maybe Southern Europe, that is Rome and Greece and North Africa, Egypt, Alexandria, and West Asia, that is Babylon, and all these areas, that is the Mediterranean region and Kerala. That was the 1st century BC and 1st century AD. And after that, there was a marked decline in the trade. And therefore, it is very difficult to see any traveler's account at that period after the decline of the Roman Empire.
Can you say any reason for the decline of Roman Empire?
Rome was biting more than it could chew. That could be one explanation. The spendthrifts of
They were
Rome,
spendthrift.
they were extravagance personified. Rome was burning everything, the resources.
In all ways, they were highly luxurious.
They were leading a luxurious life and they had to pay a cost for it.
For it.
Apart from the political squabbles and machinations and other things within the Roman Empire, the power struggle, and this would have been
These political interest, all these
political
things are
interest,
byproducts.
They are all the corollaries, byproducts.
Byproducts of this luxury life.
Byproducts of this luxurious life.
Oh.
But Caesar had, there was that the time was called the Pax Romana. Pax Romana, Roman peace. That means, the peace built on the tip of the sword. Roman peace is a concept. When Rome was ruling the roost, the whole world obeyed. So that kind of domination of the Rome over the entire world was called Pax Romana.
Pax Romana.
Pax, P-A-X, peace. Pax means peace.
Pax means peace.
Roman peace. The peace that comes at the cost, at a big cost of discipline. So discipline and peace, the slogan of Rome. Obey. We command and you obey. That was Roman time. And that Pax Romana somehow fizzled out. And a new era came. And the twilight was a time when Pantanius came. Pantanius is an Alexandrian, a traveler, a scholar, a theologian, a Christian monk.
With the Roman Empire's deterioration, a proportional loss of wealth affected our country also.
Possibly. That is the reason why Charon's declined. There was no revenue. There was no income.
This reflected.
See, the pepper and cardamom and cinnamon were never cultivated. According to Pliny's account, which we referred in another episode, this is wild growth. Pepper was wild growth. Pepper was not cultivated. Pepper just grew naturally in the forest. Which the tribal people go and pluck and take it to the middlemen, who in turn bring it to the ports. And Jews and Romans and Arabs traded it with the Roman trade ships which come. That was the pattern. But pepper was not in much demand after the decline of the Roman trade. That pepper was providing income with no cost, no scientific cultivation, wild growth. But then, it became an expensive affair after that. So that was the time when Roman decline was happening. That was the time when something unrelated was happening. So we are trying to decipher what exactly happened during the twilight between the heydays of the Roman Empire and the beginning of a new era in Kerala, Kollavarsham, in AD 825. We are trying to see what might have transpired in Kerala at that time from foreign accounts. Not from domestic. We were dealing with the domestic version, the Sankha literature and all these in another episode. We were dealing with that. But this is exclusively the traveler's account, especially the Arab and the Chinese traveler's account.
That is foreign resources.
Foreign resources, which are published, documented, codified and classified. And one thing is Pantanius, Pantanos or Pantanius, who came, he's a theologian, Christian monk, who came from Alexandria, looking for the church people, Christians, ancient Christians, Nasranis in Kerala. Because they were involved in trade. They were a trading people. They are a half, because there were Jewish traders in Kerala, and they mixed with the local population, and a community called Nazranis, Nazarenes, the people who followed Jesus Christ, came into being globally, and in Kerala also Nazarenes were there. Nazranis, we call it them Nazranis. They were in trade. And
they became dominant.
They were dominating trade. Of course, the Jews were dominating trade, and along with Jews, Nazranis were also there. And Pantanius came looking for Nazranis, and that is the Kerala Christians, ancient Kerala Christians. And he was trying to revive the failing church in Kerala, arguably established by Saint Thomas
Saint
in
Thomas.
AD 52 onwards. Saint Thomas's time is believed to be between AD 52 and AD 70. He lived in Malankara in Kerala at that time, converting a lot of people and into Christianity and sharing gospel, etc., etc. is belief. That is believed by the Christians. And Pontanus is a historical person, a professor of theology in a theological college in Alexandria. Learned man, a scholar who came and recorded very many things about Kerala and went back. And we recovered it from the Alexandrian Chronicles, and he was one who was explaining only about the church and things along with it, not exactly about the topography, climate and people and other people and all that. So that is one thing. Then came the much publicized Cosmos. Cosmos is a person, Cosmos Indicopletus, another Alexandrian who came after a few more centuries.
He also came from Alexandria.
Alexandria is northern Egypt. It's the Arab world. So it's Arab. North Egypt is Arab. Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, Morocco, all these regions all these countries today are Arab land of North Africa. Okay, West Asia also is Arab, North Africa also is Arab. So Alexandrian is Arab. So from Alexandria, Cosmos Indicopletus. Indicopletus means one who boarded the ship with the destination India. That's an Indicopletus.
With a view to reaching India.
Yeah, with a view to reaching India. Destination India, boarded ship. Cosmos, the man called Cosmos, boarded a ship with a view to reaching India. That is called Cosmos Indicopletus. He wrote Christian topography. He also was mentioning about the life of Christians in Kerala. So again, it is in Christian chronicles that this name Cosmos comes predominantly. But Cosmos talks about coconut trees being planted and being grown in Kerala. So first ever indication that Kerala is a land with a lot of coconut trees. And another episode we were talking about how coconut tree came into being and
the name of Kerala we discussed.
Yeah, we discussed that. Okay, that was another indication about the plant life, people's life, the religious life, about the Christian community in Kerala, etc. So Kerala was not a myth for a North African, for an Arab. Kerala was not a myth. And he was talking about Malay. That is
which part?
Malay is not, it can be in Cosmos's explanation, Malay is pepper.
Malay is pepper.
Geographically? Malay is the pepper, and Malay is the land where pepper plant is grown. It is synonymous.
Already mentioned somewhere else.
Already mentioned. That is synonymous. So he was talking about pepper trade. He was giving early hint about the beginning of Kollam. Not going into the details, it was arguably Kollam. But not Kollam, before Kollam came into being in a big way in AD 825. So his time was AD 550. Okay, that was the second one, which I can say both have a religious connotation. And the third one also is 100% religious. Again, Christian. That is the bishop. Supposedly a bishop. Marwan Shabor Izo, Mar Sabor, or Mar Sapir, or Sabor Isho. He was a Nestorian Christian.
What is a Nestorian?
Nestorius is a theological person, is a theologian in West Asia, in current day Turkey, Syria region, who gave one version about the Christian faith. It's a kind of denomination, it's a kind of a faith variation. Nestorians are not accepted by the Catholics, by the Roman Catholics. So Nestorianism is a bit against Roman Catholic version about Christianity. It's a sectarian politics within the Christian world. So Nestorian Christians are the ones who settled in Kerala. The ancient Christians, early Nasranis, were basically Nestorian in the end analysis. So a Nestorian Christian missionary, come bishop, come trader. See, Mar Sabor came with a trading team, Persian team. It was Persia, Arab region, Babylon, Persia, Arab, all converge into one mass. And Nestorian Christians had a hub in Kollam. If you trace the origin of Kollavarsham, it can be traced to the place Kollam. Those days it was called Kurakeni Kollam. Kurakeni Kollam. Kurakeni, Kurak and Eni. It was land jutting out into sea. Kurakeni Kollam. The present day Kollam. Just the south of Kurakeni, south of Kollam. That is Kurakeni Kollam. And description about that is there in very many accounts later on. And the first historical document where the semblance of Malayalam language is seen in a written form, not exactly Malayalam, but all that. Not exactly Malayalam, but the primitive form is seen in Tarashapalli copper plate. This man is associated with Sabur Isho, the bishop, and the traders who came along with him are the ones who built Tarashapalli, a trading hub and also a church.
Church.
Tarashapalli in Kollam. It is in Tankasheri region of Kollam, Jonakapuram, that region. So that was a time when that was AD Tarashapalli Chepped, in Malayalam they call it Chepped, copper plate, given to Tarashapalli to Marwan
church there. They built a church.
They built a church there. Persian Christians.
What about that church now?
The church must be under the waters now. The remains are there, but there is a replica built in the land in Jonakapuram near that. That is in private hands, and all that. That is Tarashapalli. That copper plate gives ample indication about the pattern of life, about that this copper plate is given by the Maharaja. Venad, at that time, that area was called Venad. The capital was Kollam, and the king used to reside in Panankav Kottaram, the palace of Panankav in Kollam. So, Ayyanadigal Thiruvadigal, the Venad king, during the reign of the Chera king Sthanu Revi, in his 5th year of rule, Sthanu Revi's 5th year of rule, that is calculated to be AD 849. Sthanu Revi, assuming that Sthanu Revi, the Venad, that Chera king, came into being, came into the throne in AD 844. The 5th year is AD 849. That was the year when the Tarashapalli Chepped is given by Ayyanadigal Thiruvadigal, the Venad king, to Sabur Isho, the Persian traders. The idea or the content is the permission to build a church, establish a trading hub, and control the people in that locality, collect taxes from them and remit it to the government or whatever it be. And 72 special rights and privileges were given to the Nestorian Christian traders located in Kollam, residing in Kollam.
72
special rights.
Rights were scribbled in the
and conferred.
Copper plate.
These copper plates, 5 copper plates recovered now. 2 are kept in Tiruvalla headquarters of Mathama Church, and 3 pieces are kept in Orthodox Devalogam Aramana in Kottayam. So that is the Tarashapalli. This is solid evidence. The life of Kerala and the people, about various communities, and early hints of discrimination, early hints about the trading practices and the collection of taxes, various kinds of taxes, about which we will deal separately. About Tarashapalli we can deal separately because there's huge document. More documents can be had. And that is the next indication. Tarashapalli copper plates. give a very, very, very solid explanation about the occurrences and the state of affairs in 9th century Kerala. And that after that, that was a time when Sulaiman, an Arab trader, an Arab traveler came. Arab traveler came. He was looking for Muslims. Couldn't find very many Muslims, and he could find the Christians in Kerala. Couldn't find. He was dealing exclusively with Kollam, predominantly with Kollam. Although he traveled to other places, he focused on Kollam. And Kollam comes into the being. It is not Muziris anymore. Muziris still existed, Kodungalur. But Kollam comes up in a big way in the beginning in Cosmos' explanation. Tarishapalli definitely is Kollam, and in Sulaiman's account, Kollam comes. After Sulaiman, so many travelers came.
So and firstly from Greek, Roman, Arab, then Chinese.
Then Chinese came. Chinese, not exactly, no, Huangsang came in between. But one doesn't know whether Huangsang reached Kerala. He gave everything about India and about Kerala also, but very, very difficult to prove whether Huangsang came to Kerala. But from one man from China, a Venetian person who lived in China for 15 years.
Originally belongs to
Italy,
Venice.
His name is Marco Polo. Illustrious Marco Polo. Marco Polo is the one who gave exhaustive coverage about Kerala. Marco Polo's account. Marco Polo talks about everything, in fact, everything that we want to know. Marco Polo's time is AD 1190 onwards. You know, that is so that 1290. That is the 13th century. Around that time. That was the time when Marco Polo came as an emissary of Kublai Khan, the Chinese king, Chinese emperor. He was actually traveling between China and Persia. He was looking for a bride or a concubine from China for a Persian king. He was an intermediary. He was an interlocutor or a middleman and a traveler.
He was a go-between.
He was a go-between, and the landing place was Kerala in between. The Persia on the western side of Kerala in the Arabian Sea, and China in the eastern frontiers. Between China and Persia, Marco Polo halted in Kerala and traveled between Kollam, Kundara, and Niranam, and Tiruvalla. No, that is the Niranam, that region. Nakida, Perunna near Changanasheri, Vadapalli near Kottayam, and up to Kodungalur via Tripunathura and Kaduthuruthi. These are all places that find mention, not exactly in that order, that name, but in some other name, but we can identify Unnanili Charidam, Unnuchiridevi Charidam, all these Champus and Manipravala Kavyams give description. Kauka Sanesham, Shuka Sanesham, which all came during that time, 13th, 14th centuries. Give a very clear idea about the then existing coastal line of Kerala. That is coming, that is confirmed and ratified and testified by corroborating with the accounts of Marco Polo. Marco Polo is a major thing. Major thing. Then came Ibn Battuta.
Marco Polo wrote about our culture, our culture of untouchability.
Marco Polo wrote about untouchability. Marco Polo wrote about the divide. Marco Polo wrote about discrimination. Chadurvarnya, not in that form, but the kind of domination of one group by the other, exploitation, untouchability, these kind of social malices were indicated. So it was a transitional society. Reading from Marco Polo gives one an impression that Kerala was transforming gradually from an egalitarian society into a casteist mold.
Oh,
So that is Marco Polo's, it's an indication. And one more person who came,
Ah,
just around that time, that is Ibn Battuta.
Ibn Battuta.
He came, he's an Arab, came from
Arab.
North Africa, Morocco,
Morocco.
that region.
Ah.
He came from that part of Africa and talks, he went to the Malabar region of Kerala. That is northern Kerala. The Kannur, Kasaragod, Calicut, Malappuram, Wayanad belt. He was the first one to talk about Calicut.
Calicut.
So, emphasis shifted. See the way emphasis shifting from Muziris to Kollam and then to Calicut by 13th, 14th century. So, Marco Polo, followed by Ibn Battuta, gives a very good picture about the Muslim trading, Arab trading,
Yeah.
Chinese trade. So, from 8th century onwards, at least up to 13th century, Chinese were here as traders.
Traders.
You hear about China Vala,
Oh.
China Chatti,
Chatti.
China Bharani,
Oh.
China Valai, and China Kada, Chinna Kada, Kollam.
Kada, oh.
So Kollam was frequented by the Chinese.
Oh.
And the proof is that Tarashapalli Cheped, Tarashapalli copper plates, deals, that figures, Kofic Arabi signatures, names, and Persian, Hebrew, and Arabic, and Chinese. All these languages are seen in Tarashapalli copper plates. That is a good enough confirmation that these people were all here. So Kerala was very much cosmopolitan at that time. So that is confirmed by Marco Polo and also by Ibn Battuta, and Arabs were dominating the trade also. So that was the time when, before Vasco da Gama set foot and colonialism started.
Up to Vasco da Gama?
Up to Vasco da Gama. It was a different picture altogether.
So that was the obscure knowledge you gave.
Hope the obscure thing is lifted, the clouds
The
of
veil has been
obscurity lifted.
The veil has been lifted now.
Veil has been unveiling of
Unveiled.
mysteries. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for this enlightening information, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for listening to us.